Hello, and welcome to the Holistic Living, Learning, and Loving podcast, where we are bringing you back to the basics.
We explore sustainable living and holistic health and strive for progress, not perfection.
So please join us on a wellness journey and feel empowered to make positive changes in your life. Hey guys, welcome back. We are so happy you're here. We really appreciate our followers who go and watch our videos every week or listen to the podcast. We started this to impact people close to us and whoever was interested, honestly, into trying to live a healthier life. So we're really glad that you are interested and here with us today. So please subscribe to our channel, our podcast, and give us a like and comment, whatever. We are happy to have a dialogue and we appreciate everyone. So today we're going to talk about a topic that we should have talked about probably as our second episode, but today we're going to talk about water. So we talked about structured water. Today we're just going to talk about your old, regular water that you drink every single day for survival. So our body is made of 60% water. It's very important. It's vital for pretty much every function of the body. It's the, basic components of blood. It lubricates our eyes, mouth.
I mean, it's important
nose.
For everything, though. Everything.
Yes. It carries oxygen to cells. It aids in digestion. You need it to run smoothly and not be constipated. It assists your kidneys in detoxing your body and expelling all of the toxins that you have. It regulates body temperature by sweating, it is it for us. We are water beings all day long. Would we even be here without water? No,
I mean, even in the aspect of structured water, how they say could we play a factor in our energy and voltage and everything like that, which makes sense if you really think about it. So that is another huge thing.
Yeah, that is true. I totally forgot about that part, how water maybe is what's giving us that charge and able to keep things moving, right? Like blood and stuff, right?
Yeah. But it helps with the heart and just our voltage, our energy. It plays a huge role. Making ATP not necessarily our main energy resource, or however you would word that. Water being another main thing that we get our energy from, and electrically charged from the sun. And I mean, there's science that talks about this, but it's just not accepted mainstream yet.
Yeah,
as far as that goes.
That pseudoscience or whatever, it's just stuff that we're not going to talk about. It's kind of like the black sheep of the family, I guess, There's so many aspects of stuff that thrills me that is in that realm. But pretty much everything thrills me.
Is definitely factual. It's just whole, I don't know if it's just mainstream I don't know if they are accepting of or have it adopted the theory of its role in energy and voltage yet.
So we need water. It's very important. People should be drinking water. We'll talk about how much a little bit later. But part of, when we ingest water and it does all these critical things, well, you definitely want to be careful about the water you are ingesting, because you are ingesting a good bit every day to stay hydrated. And you want that to be a high quality product, right? Because some people are obsessed about putting the expensive premium gas in their cars.
Yeah.
And this is do you want to put regular tap water in your body, or do you want to supercharge that MFR?
Yeah, it's a funny thing that you brought that up, because it's so true. Somebody was using that analogy the other day that I was listening to, how we don't hesitate to take care of our car, and make sure we get our oil changed on time and put the good oil and pay the money to take care of that and all that. But when it comes to us, we expect everything to be cheap. Oh, that's too much. I can't do that. It's this is our bodies. This is us, our life. I don't know why we have that
prioritize.
Yeah,
prioritize other things that aren't as important, and then totally eat garbage or drink bad water, or there's a multitude of things.
Yeah, we totally disregard the quality of the things we put inside of our body and taking care of it.
But that has to change, because everybody's sick, everybody's got inflammation, just tons of issues right now, infertility. I mean, the list is just, it's so long that we have to take this back and prioritize our health, or else we're just not going to make it, dying early. I bet, a lot of people in our generation, we're going to be that generation that's going to be like, whoa, what happened there? There's so many things. But, part of this, a big thing that I'm concerned with is water contamination. What
Yeah.
are we doing to the earth? What are we doing to our drinking sources? Because that's major. I mean, we need water to survive. It's an absolute, number one thing in life, basically, is like if you don't have water in a couple of days, you're not going to make it.
Yeah. I had the thought, like, what if we didn't have access to bottled water at the store, or these reverse osmosis systems, or these water filtration
Mm.
pitchers, whatever, all of those things, and we had to rely on water from nature? Would we even be able to find truly safe, clean water?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of people that have wells, um, and spring water on their properties,
But is
but
it not contaminated?
you
you
have to
know
test it. You're supposed to test your well once a year to make sure. But, they started doing fracking and all those things, introducing all these crazy chemicals into the ground. And
Yeah.
I've always thought that was a horrible, horrible idea. Um, it's just, we need water for survival. And ocean water, we really haven't. I mean, mining ocean water is very expensive to take all the salt out and all that stuff,
Yeah, but we
from
also
what
have
I
like
understand.
glyphosate and all of these
And
other
that's going to
things
be
that
in
get
our
into our.
oceans too.
Yeah, that's in the air.
It's
It's
going right in
everywhere.
there.
Yeah, it's like, and we have so many things
Yeah,
that are
so there's lots
contaminating the
of
water.
pollutants in water. So we have chlorine, we have to disinfect our water to be able to drink it. And, we need these things because back in the day, people were dying from these issues. So obviously, we need to have clean water. So we need to put chlorine in it. I'm sure that's probably like the easiest way of decontaminating our water and purifying it. But unfortunately, chlorine's bad for us. Fluoride was put in the water to, I don't quite know why. I mean, I guess it's just for tooth reasons, or is there
I
another
think
reason why
yeah, I think they started to put it in our water for our teeth,
for
I
our teeth?
believe, but it's definitely a neurotoxin and
Yeah,
was originally used in Nazi Germany.
yeah, to like
Um,
make people compliant.
yeah, it's yeah, like I said, a neurotoxin. It's terrible and
Yep.
shouldn't be in our
It
water.
affects I just did some research and found that it affects thyroid hormones. The fluoride does. Our water is also contaminated with antibiotics from us excreting antibiotics, as well as animals like
CAFOs.
in major farms that are full of antibiotics. They are peeing and pooing, and blood and everything is going into the water supply.
That's a huge source of
Hormones.
water contamination. Yeah,
Yeah.
hormones.
Hormones, birth controls, all that stuff. Again, you'll find that, if you look at studies, you'll see that that's in our water. Endocrine disruptors, like you said, these PFAS, Teflon contamination from the Teflon plants, all of our chemical plants every chemical plant that you see is discharging water. They're
Yeah.
putting it in quantities that test lower than what the state requires. And it just goes right in the water. I've been to many, many, many like refineries and chemical plants, and they all do the same thing. And I test that water, and I can tell you it was like, not the best.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to touch the water. I wear gloves.
It's
So it's
crazy.
just going right into our streams and rivers and everywhere, everywhere. I
It's
mean,
crazy because, like, for all of this time, we just trust that these people know what they're doing and that what they're doing is safe, but it's not.
well, the government has their own standards of what they consider safe. I mean, for industry as well as for our drinking water, right? They have limits. However, they haven't been updated in 20 years nearly, and they're really not that great of limits. They're
Yeah, like,
like
what are their
probably
standards
just,
based off of? Like, how do
yeah,
they make these standards? I mean, honestly, I don't think their standards are
they're
good
not up to
or
snuff, I don't
safe.
think. So EWG has a website, and you can go and put your town in or whatever, maybe even zip code, and you can pull your water data, and it'll tell you, what the contaminants in your water are. So, and I pulled some up for Homa just because I figured a lot of our population was from Homa. Um, and it said that they're over the limit in 13 constituents. So this is over the EWG recommended limits. Okay, it's not the actual government limits, because the government has their own limits. And are they really like? I mean, I want to believe that they have our health in mind, But time and time again, I've kind of been proven with actions that that's not the case, you know? So you can take that as you want about whether the government, has the right standards. But according to EWG, we are high. You guys are high in arsenic, chromium, chloroform, radium, and a couple other. It had 13 total. So, and our town has high radium in the water and arsenic. I think arsenic's really prevalent in our area.
We just got a letter in the mail from the Consolidated Waterworks that said they discovered that we possibly may have
Lead pipes.
lead pipes. Did you get the same thing?
That's like a national thing where they're having to do
Uh,
that. Every water
oh,
district is having to determine that because it's this mandate that just went through. That's
there's
not
lead
cool.
pipes everywhere?
It depends on it. There's many factors, but yeah, there's lead pipes all over the place. And that also, so you'll have your heavy metal contamination isn't necessarily just from the ground or
Yeah,
industry or whatever. It's also from the pipes that are moving water into your house and what are those pipes touching during their move.
right.
So there's lots of factors that play with tap water. There's a lot of different pollutant sources. There can be sewage pollutant sources in water. That's when you'll get your boil water advisory, is when they're
Okay.
worried about those kind of, parameters being off. And, just to, whenever I distrust the government or whatever, I mean, it's like I said, I want to believe in the good things, but time and time again, they've proven to us that they don't care. So, Flint, Michigan, everybody's heard of Flint, Michigan. So in Flint, Michigan, they were getting their water from a source and it was too expensive. They could get it from the city of Detroit, I believe it was Detroit, but it was so expensive that they decided to cut costs and get it from the river instead. Well, the river historically was a dumping ground for multiple industries, car industries, all these different industries, and all these different people were dumping water in there. And the government officials were buying bottled water. They knew and they were protecting their families while the people in their community suffered. It was mostly Black community, and they were able to light their water on fire, all this craziness. People
Wow.
were very sick, lots of disease and cancers and all those things. So then it came, all that stuff came out about how they did that and they covered it up and they just didn't give a shit about the people living in their own communities. It's really sad.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's up to everybody if they want to trust the government, but I'm not. I'm way past that. I think everybody should definitely don't trust any entity to. Don't put your health or your well being in anybody's hands. You should always put take that into your own hands.
I just
Be
always say
your
you should always question everything.
yes, and
Don't
be your
just
own
take it
advocate.
because there's so many things that we were just taught and we do things a certain way because of the way we were taught, the way we grew up, whatever, the general consensus, people believing stuff or whatever. And so in those cases, we should always come up with a reason. Well, why do I do this? Is
Yeah,
this
always question.
because I was taught that way? Is there a better way? Should I question, like, should I research this item? So you have to just be able to do that.
Right.
So there's lots of different things on the market to filter water out. I guess the most popular one's probably the Brita filter, right? A lot of people had that. I had many of those iterations in my past. That's basically like a carbon filter. It can improve the taste and odor and those kind of things. And it can also do a couple other things. It can usually remove pesticides, chlorine, it removes some heavy metals. It doesn't remove fluoride, dissolve solids, bacteria, viruses, and you do have to change the filter. You have to change it pretty consistently to keep it able to do that. It's like, now listen, if you don't have a lot of money to invest in like a reverse osmosis system or whatever, I would say this is better than drinking tap water. You
Yeah.
know,
Oh, yeah. I would say anything is better than drinking tap water.
yeah, I was listening to a different podcast and the guy was saying even just putting your water in like a pitcher and letting it sit out and letting the stuff at the
Yeah.
bottom dissolve and then pouring that into a different container is better than just nothing.
Yeah. Or just letting, because the chlorine will evaporate after a certain amount of time.
Yeah, and
You
any
can at least
volatile
get,
chemicals will evaporate and stuff like that. So that's
yeah.
definitely your baseline is that you should at least let water sit out a pitcher.
I would
Then I
take,
would say a Brita is probably your next best.
but I
And
would
there's
say
also,
never drink tap water unless you absolutely have to.
yeah,
Tap water is not safe to drink.
I feel you.
Sorry, I had to put that out there because some people still think tap water is safe. It's not safe.
Yeah, you have to do something to drink better water. Water is very important, and I'm not saying spend a lot of money, but maybe you could take a little more effort to at least set your water out. I think at a minimum. So Berkey is are these containers that filter water. My friend is a huge proponent of that. She has had it forever. And those are kind of a bigger vessel on your countertop that carry more water instead of like a Brita pitcher, which is pretty small. So reverse osmosis is probably the best thing you can do for water. It's reverse osmosis, or RO for short. These are membranes that water can pass through, and it'll basically strip that water down to nothing, and it will strip viruses out and all that stuff. Except for some small viruses can still pass through. It typically removes 500 times more than a carbon filter. So just has really good properties, but you do have to replace those filters. There's several, like there's a 6-stage filter system that does all the things, and some filters might need to be changed every 6 months. Some might be a year, 2 years, I think, for the actual membrane itself. So there's
Yeah,
maintenance.
we just bought one, and the one that
The
you
one I
shared
sent
with
you,
me, yeah,
Ice
we
Spring.
got it. It's still in the box. We haven't put it together yet because we've been buying distilled water in the bottle all this time. We used to have a zero water filter.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know if that's as good as reverse osmosis or whatnot, but we ended up just going to distilled water. But obviously, that has in plastic jugs. We
Yeah.
were just remineralizing it. But yeah, we wanted to get away from that, and finally took the plunge because we've been making so many changes. I'm all into this health stuff, and people are probably like, "Wow, you're
Hmm.
just now getting one," but I've been making so many very costly changes in my life that it's like, I have
Just
to change
another
out
thing.
all of my pots and so many things. So I finally got that. But yeah, I was looking into the filters, and I feel like it's like $200, but that's like a one time cost, which is, I
Yeah.
feel like that's very much worth it. I mean, think about how much money you're going to spend on Christmas. Many of us are going to spend that much on Christmas or whatever. Like,
Oh,
let's get
yeah.
the things we need, or our birthday present. Say, get me a reverse osmosis system. But the
Hmm.
filters, yeah, they're like, I think you said it was like 45, $50, and a lot of them last for 6 months to a year. So I think that's a good deal and
I
very
think it's
much
a good.
worth it.
We've had these systems probably since about 2017, these ice springs. And we've always liked them. I like the way the water tastes. We were not remineralizing for a long time, and we finally put that filter in and started remineralizing. That's really serious too. You need to have drinking
Yeah,
distilled water is really bad for you. You need calcium and magnesium in your water. And so we got that going. But, these are systems that fit under your sink and connect. Usually you can, if you have like a stainless steel sink, you can cut a hole in it where this, or if you have like one of those soap dispensers or a spray jet or whatever, it comes up through one of those holes. And then you can just have a separate little faucet that's just for the RO water.
that's what's
Um,
stopping us right now because I have to cut a hole in my granite because I don't have another hole.
oh,
Yeah,
yeah. You can buy the tip for your drill bit, a
yeah.
drill bit to cut through granite. We've done it, and you just have to keep it lubricated with water while you're cutting. But it depends on how thick your granite is. If it's really thick, it's a beast to cut
Oh,
through.
I don't think it's
But
very
it's not
thick.
that bad. Mike did it, several holes to put in something. So yeah, and the install's really not that bad. It's pretty simple, connecting a couple pipes and stuff like that. It's not that horrible. We actually have one. We put ours behind our refrigerator because we wanted it to discharge out of the little part that you get the water and the ice
Yeah.
from.
Well, the one that I have says that there's a place to connect it to your refrigerator. Does it have to be by my refrigerator though?
Well, you're gonna need to run a line. It has
Yeah,
to
I
have
mean, but as long as
pipe.
I run a line, I mean, it should be good, right? I
Yeah,
mean, because I
this
need it under my sink.
ours was just
Yeah.
like we couldn't run a line where our sink was in the refrigerator. It wasn't like it would be like going across whatever.
Yeah.
So anyway, we really like that. You do have to buy the filters. They come in packs on Amazon. It's all pretty simple for really good water that is clean. You know, I really believe in it. So some people think that you can boil water to remove contaminants. Unfortunately, that does not work. I mean, that removes it. If you're going to do like a neti pot and you don't want to get bacteria in your nose,
Right.
it's good for that. But as far as heavy metals and stuff, and in some cases, boiling water can actually make some of the contaminants even worse than not boiling it, like off
Yeah.
gassing wise. Um, and then, you using bottled water, obviously that's not a great choice because it's got a lot of microplastics in it. And we're
Yeah.
talking about individual gallon jugs, Kenwood water bottles in the plastic,
Yeah, and then a lot of these plastic water bottles and jugs, they sit out in the heat for a
mm-hmm,
long period of time, and that's just further increasing the plastic part, the discharge of plastic particles into the
yeah.
water.
And the other
Um,
contaminants that are inside of the plastic, the things from the petrochemical industry that make plastic, that's leaching out into your
yeah,
water too when it gets hot. So just all around.
of the plastic waste
Oh
in our
yeah.
environment, we as a society really need to start caring about how much plastic waste we have. First of all, the plastic is just so terrible for us, the endocrine disruptors and the toxins.
Mm-hmm.
And then what you add on top of that, the landfills and the pollution, and it's polluting our soils, our waters, our air, everything. We have to
Mm-hmm.
start caring and start using safer materials, and a reverse osmosis system is really perfect to eliminate that.
So we kind of talked about remineralization. So yeah, if you're drinking distilled water, you have to remineralize or else it could be making you sick. You're not going to get the calcium and magnesium that your body absolutely needs to be able to do what it's doing. And I realized that hard water is actually better water for drinking purposes than soft water,
Yeah, because that's what's
because it
making it
has
hard,
that.
because it's
Yeah, the
full of
hardness.
minerals.
I like never really thought about the fact that it was hard because of the calcium and magnesium.
As far as the minerals, we need more than just the magnesium and the calcium. When you're remineralizing your water, you really want. So first of all, we talk about electrolytes, right? And everybody's like, you need electrolytes in your water. And I always wondered, what is an electrolyte? I just kind of just took it like, okay, I need electrolytes, and it's in this packet or whatever. Um, but electrolytes are minerals that are charged when dissolved in water or body fluids, and not all minerals are charged in water or body fluids. And the minerals that are charged are calcium, sodium, potassium, phosphate, magnesium, and chloride. But other minerals that aren't are things like zinc, iron, and iodine. Those are just some. So those are your electrolytes, and those are the ones that we really need when we are getting our water. And I looked, because so I remineralize my water with sea salt for
Mm-hmm.
the most part. And I looked up what's in sea salt, and sea salt contains magnesium, potassium, calcium, iron, and sodium chloride. So you're getting a good bit of what you need from just that. But I know a lot of people use the little packets or whatever, which is
Mm-hmm.
fine too. But I just wanted to throw that out there because it's really easy to just throw a pinch of salt in your water.
Yeah, and then I guess you can add lemon to kind of neutralize the salt flavor, is what I've heard. But one thing that I'm going to caution about sea salt is I would just look into lead. I know it's like a hot topic, but some
Yeah,
sea salt has really high lead concentrations in it. Like Redmond is high.
yeah, or the
And
Celtic sea salt. That one
yeah.
had been recalled. So I use the pink Himalayan salt, actually, is what
Mm-hmm.
I use. I said sea salt. Well, I used the pink Himalayan salt ever since. I had always used the pink one, but I had just ordered the Celtic sea salt because that's what everybody else used. So
Mm-hmm.
I felt like I should get it. And right when we received it in the mail, um, out came the thing about the lead contamination. So it's
Yeah.
just been sitting in my cabinet, and we haven't used it since. Yeah, and they say that the lead contamination comes from them drying it out on those some kind of clay tablets
Oh,
that
really?
they use to dry and collect the salt or something like that
Oh my
to
gosh.
dry it on, and that's contaminating with lead.
You can go to Lead Safe Mama. She's run a bunch of them. And also there's another one, Mamavation, Mamavattion. She has a big list of all, like so many of the sea salts and the pink, like the Himalayan salts, and has the best, the worst, middle ground, so that's a good one. So one thing that I was learning about hydrogen water, that's like kind of a new popularity thing in water. And apparently, like when you have hard water, the magnesium, the calcium, and whatnot, it makes hydrogen rich water, and it also makes pH higher. So that could be like why that's a big thing right now, the
Yeah, I was
hydrogen
actually
water.
listening to some podcasts. There's this podcast that I listen to, and it's like a quantum biology thing. And these ladies are really into hydrogen water right now, and they
Mm-hmm.
have these systems you can buy to make your own hydrogen water. Not all of them are made the same, and like everything else, you don't want to just buy anything. But like a good one is like $3,000. But they have this guy. I forgot his name, but he has been using this on a lot of different people, and a lot of people have been able to heal a lot of different diseases, from
Mm-hmm.
like autoimmune diseases and diabetes, all kinds of things, by using this hydrogen water. So
Yeah,
it's a
but isn't
pretty new.
hydrogen water just nutrient rich water?
um that what
Because
I'm talking about is, it's a lot of hydrogen, but the way he's using it is not only. So let me explain. The way he's talking about, when he talks about it, he's like, don't go buy hydrogen water that they're selling. It's not the same. And he says it can also maybe even be harmful. The only way he would do it is with this machine. And it's a Japanese made
is it
machine.
because I was reading that they put a metallic magnesium stick into drinking water, and I guess that probably has a lot of
I'm not sure why, but
yeah.
he made it seem like he wouldn't do it any other way. He's doing it not just as a water, but a gas as well, like
Hmm.
hydrogen gas that you're inhaling, and then water. But it's a new concept to me, so I'm not very
Yeah,
familiar with it.
I
But
don't know anything about it.
people are like seeing a lot of really good results from it, and it's pretty interesting. It's something fun to look into if anybody's interested. But it's also very expensive. So
Yeah,
unless you have a lot of money, don't look into
unless you had some money to
it.
burn.
Yeah.
So one thing that I always wonder myself is like cold versus room temperature versus warm water and how that makes a difference. So whenever we drink cold water, it's not that it's bad for you or any other thing. It's just that your body has to heat it up before it can really pass through its membranes and things. So it just takes longer for your and more energy for your body to have to heat that cold water up in your gut and then be able to move it across membranes. So sometimes, if you drink a lot of cold water at one time, then your belly might be sloshy, and it's because it's not
Yeah.
rapidly diffusing like it would
It's
if it
like
was the right temperature.
it's like a shock to the system. I remember I used to work at a Chinese restaurant, and I had my boss Wena. She was like my Chinese mom. But that Chinese people, she said, they don't drink cold water. That it's
Hmm.
bad. She said it's bad for you. That it's a shock to your system. And when she broke it down to me, it made so much sense. She said your
Hmm.
body is warm on the inside, and the water is cold. And putting cold water in there in your body is, it's a shock to the system. And yeah. So, and ever that stuck with me ever since. And I'm not gonna say I went straight to drinking room temperature water then, but I do now, and I don't ever drink cold water.
Really,
Just
I'm obsessed with cold water,
my kids are too. They always
and
want cold water.
I know, and it's hard. I'm trying to not drink it with ice at least. Um, but ultimately, I think that as long as you're drinking water and you're getting a lot of water and you're hydrated, does it matter? Probably not. Is it ideal for your body? And if you're going to be a triathlete or something, then yes, it would probably be something you would want to look into. But for the average person, I think as long as you're drinking water,
Yeah,
enjoy
I mean, I
yourself.
don't think it's that serious. I always think back to nature, right? If we were drinking our water purely from nature and it was wintertime, we would be drinking cold water. So,
Yeah,
I mean, that would be the only way we could drink. So it can't be that bad.
yeah,
But yeah, sure, our bodies probably do have to work a little harder or whatever.
yeah. So the next thing is pH. So, there's this big alkalinity movement about alkaline water and how important that is. So basically, the alkaline water is not going to change the pH of the water you drink unless it's pure acid, is not going to change the way your body inside makes pH, how it is acid or basic. Your stomach is not going to get alkaline because you're drinking alkaline water basically. But what it does do is it allows, again, the water to diffuse through cells easier. You don't
Well,
agree?
the research that I looked up is pretty much like, from what I gather, the science is kind of out on that. They don't know.
Yeah.
From what I read is that they just don't know if it's even beneficial or not, and that it could be harmful. It could actually alkaline your stomach so much and reduce the peptin, the release of peptin in your stomach acid so much that your stomach's not able to break down the food properly and create the acid it needs to digest and process your nutrients and whatnot.
Yeah.
Um, and also, I mean, just think about it. Are we drinking alkaline water in nature? Like, is that, are we, this is a man made concept. Do
Yeah.
we need alkaline water, whether it's working or it's not? I think what our main focus needs to be is just eating healthy, whole foods that are full of
Hmm.
nutrients. As long as we are eating a proper diet, we shouldn't need to drink alkaline water, you know? And if you're
Yeah.
eating a bad diet, I don't think drinking alkaline water is going to help you anyway, you know?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, from what I gather, it's, they don't know if it's helping you or hurting you.
Yeah, I mean, just from, I guess, a chemistry standpoint, I find it hard to believe that drinking alkaline water is going to mess with your stomach acidity because your stomach's just so acidic. It's so concentrated. And the acidity or alkalinity in water is nothing compared to the acidity in your stomach, you know? So I don't know, but I'm not,
I don't know, but
that's Heather's
also
2 cents.
from what I read is that they think a lot of the benefits that people are seeing from the alkaline water is just that the
They're
alkaline water
drinking
is
more
simply
water.
mineralized,
Oh,
and that people are just getting benefits because it's mineralized.
and also because they're drinking more of it. So they're hydrated, and that's giving them good side effects.
The way I feel about it is that it's just unnecessary and it's more of a marketing thing than anything.
Probably like
I think like
hydrogen
a lot
water.
of, there's a whole craze of an alkaline diet because cancer can't survive in an alkaline environment and a lot of diseases can't. But I mean, you can actually throw the body into you know how they have acidosis where they have
Alkatosis or
alkalinosis
something.
or something like that, like basically the opposite where you're making your body too alkaline, you know? So
Yeah.
there's got to be a healthy medium. It's not like, oh, well, these diseases can't thrive in an acid environment, so let me just be super alkaline, you know?
Yeah.
What it boils down to is just be healthy. Just do normal, healthy things.
Yeah. But one of the normal health things is actually drinking enough water. I know some people that they don't even literally drink any water.
Oh,
I'm gonna
yeah.
call you out, Dad. Dad only drinks Diet Coke.
Yeah. Yeah, and no, like a lot of Nick's family, they only drink Coke. He has an aunt that she she has some struggles, but she says that the doctor said she's allergic to water, that she has to drink Coke, but she's, she struggles, but it's
Interesting.
funny that she says that.
Well, my mom says that water gives her heartburn, which I guess is could be true, but it's just like, come on, man. So she has to drink soft drinks, but she's started drinking tea instead of sodas, so I guess that's an improvement. um, so water, you should be aiming for about 80 ounces per day. So what I've heard is that for the first 10 hours after you wake up is your water drinking time. That's when you need to try to get in your 80 ounces, like maybe, 8 ounces 10 times a day or whatever, however you break that up. And during those times, it doesn't really matter if you're chugging, gulping water, or if you're just sipping, that as long as you're getting water, because 10 hours is when your kidneys are most active in the, like when you wake up, your kidneys are ready to get to work. They're ready to start flushing out everything. But after about 10 hours, your kidneys are like, okay, I'm done working for the day. I've had enough of this. I'm going to clock out. And they kind of start slowing down. And that's when if you drink too much water, you'll have to just pee all the time because your kidneys are slow. And after about 10 hours, you want to really slow down and only drink about, 5 to 8 ounces before you go to bed, or else, you're probably going to have to pee all the time.
Well, the way
Like
I
me.
feel about it, so this is just my personal opinion, but I feel like it's kind of weird when we start saying, oh, you need to drink this amount of water a day,
Yeah.
because like the way I view things is in nature, like nobody's been telling people of all time, make sure you drink this much water a day. People and animals, they drink when they're thirsty. And
Hmm.
I feel like as long as you're not drinking a bunch of Cokes and you strictly just drink water, as long as you aren't thirsty and you feel like you're hydrated, you're feeling fine, I feel like you're probably okay. As your pee's not super super dark, and that
Yeah.
whole theory of like your pee should be clear, I disagree with that. And I've heard others and doctors say that it shouldn't be clear. And I think we get to a point to where we're peeing so much because we're just drinking too much water and our body's just
Yeah.
passing it through. That's my
Well,
personal opinion. I mean, I just think you just need to be hydrated,
Well,
you
I feel
know?
like where they get that number from, it's not for everyone, and other people might have more water needs and some people might have less. But I guess it's just from a basic cellular functioning of what the body probably needs just to do,
Yeah.
the bare minimum of work.
I guess I
Um,
say that because I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
no, you're fine.
I guess I say that because some people they stick to these things as if
Yeah,
it's
like hardcore.
like I need to get in
No,
my 8 cups a day or my gallon of water a day, and I don't think we need to put that much effort into it.
I don't know. I think you should definitely at least sit down periodically and say, am I drinking enough water? And kind of try to figure out. I don't think you need to carry around the jug with the numbers and make sure, oh, it's the hour. I got to drink, drink, drink. But just kind of evaluate in your head whether you think you're getting enough water, because it is important to get enough water. I mean, I do think that there is overkill. Of course, you can die if you drink too much water. But you need to make sure your body's at least getting what it needs to function properly. Because if you're dehydrated and your body's not even functioning optimally, then all the other things are just beating down on it and wearing away at your immune system and all that stuff. And you know, what am I trying to say? Inflammation and all that stuff is just worse. So I don't think it's this magic number though, but just something to be aware of and try to make sure
Yeah.
or don't.
I'm just throwing my 2 cents out there.
No, I know. You should be hydrating during the day if you're doing a lot of exercise, losing a lot of sweat.
Yeah.
Um, then you're going to obviously want to keep up your water with that.
That's where it's definitely important, especially if you're in the hot sun and you're sweating a lot. You definitely want to make sure you're drinking a lot in that situation. Nick has dealt with heat exhaustion so many
Mm-hmm.
times. And I feel they say once you get it once, you're more prone to getting it, which seems to be true in Nick's situation.
Yeah.
And he drinks a ton of water when he's out there, and it's just really dangerous. So
Mm-hmm.
in those situations, you definitely want to make sure you're drinking enough.
Yes. So some people like to enhance their water in different ways. I am a carbonation junkie. I am obsessed with carbonated water, and I know it's probably not that. I mean, it's not horrible, but I know it's acidic, and so it's just worse for your teeth than drinking regular water because of that fact. But I'm trying to cut down on it, but I'm obsessed.
I never got into it. I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
I'm
kind of wanted to
obsessed.
like it.
Well, it's like one of those things you just have to keep doing it, and then eventually you'll get obsessed with it. So if you don't have an obsession, then probably best not to. And then another enhancement that some people make is energy enhancements. We kind of talked about it before, maybe sound imprinting, the sun. Some people charge their water in the sun and then drink it.
Yes.
And then, using crystals, you can charge crystals and I guess put the crystals in the water and have that charge your water. And there's actually been some studies of people, I want to do it myself, that have done the sun and then done crystals and stuff and then let it sit out in the sun on a crystal or something and then put it in the freezer and freeze it. And like it makes really cool patterns in the frozen water.
Yes, that's like the
Um,
whole concept of like structured water,
yeah.
which all that stuff sounds really woo woo. I know some people are like, oh my god, but think about it for a second. These are the situations our water was supposed to be in. It's supposed to be in springs, flowing down in the sun
And the
with
crystals.
minerals and possibly what crystals, right? I mean that
Yeah.
could be right. I mean these are natural situations with sound and all of these things from nature in our water. And
Hmm.
that's how our water's supposed to be, not just going through these filtration systems
Taps,
in the
like
plastic bottle.
pipes.
Yeah, never seeing sunlight. And these things play roles. The sun, there's energy and information within the rays of light coming from the sun. And we need that. Like we say, always say, we are beings of nature. We are a part of nature. And in every situation we seem to keep detaching ourselves from it more and more and thinking it's ridiculous when people say that we need to put our bare feet on the ground or you know let our water be in the sun or our skin in the sun. And It's really, really not. It makes all the sense in the world once you actually look into it and just think about it. And it
Mm-hmm.
could make a big difference. And like Heather said, they have these experiments, which I think there's more to it, where you can put like intention into your water or think about something and put your water in the sun and then freeze it and it can take on some type of shape or image or whatever. It's
Yeah,
just cool stuff.
I
And
know, it's really
structured
interesting.
water is something
I
our
want to do that.
bodies need.
Whenever the sun comes back out, I want to go mess around with some water and put some out, put some with a crystal, and I want to test that myself and see what happens. So get your water. I really believe in carrying around your own water bottle. I think that glass is always best for water, but the next would be stainless steel. And then make sure in your stainless steel cups, you really shouldn't be drinking anything acidic in them, because drinking acidic liquids inside of your stainless steel causes the other metals that are inside of stainless steel to leach out. So you don't want to be drinking orange juice. Really, you wouldn't want to be drinking coffee in stainless steel, because it can affect your metal. But definitely bring your own bottle. Lay off the. I don't even take a water bottle unless I do not have any water and I'm dying of thirst and I'm not going to be home. I'm just like, I'm good. I'm not drinking bottled water. You know.
Yeah, we carry around our own little stainless steel bottles now.
Mm-hmm.
And I bring it everywhere I go, to make sure I always have water and don't have to stop and buy some or whatever. I'm always on the
Mm-hmm.
kids because they're constantly forgetting theirs and then they want to drink out of mine. But yeah, definitely make that a habit to carry around one of those.
Yep, for sure. God, it's so easy to get those. I feel like people are always giving those away. Even at Mike's work, they're like, "Here, have another water bottle." It's like, okay, calm down. We have 20. Like,
Yeah, and the ones I got were two big ones like this from Costco, and I think it was maybe $30 for two
yeah,
of them.
and then they have them at TJ Maxx and those type of stores, Ross, what's the Marshalls. They always have those, and they're really, you can go get them in the clearance section for a couple bucks.
Yeah,
So,
and one of my friends, it usually comes with that plastic straw on the inside if it
mhm,
has a straw,
yeah.
and she changed hers out for a metal straw because they usually those
Ooh,
metal straws you could buy are pretty wide and they fit, which I haven't done yet, but I need to do it. But
I
yeah,
need to
that's
do
a good
that
idea.
too. That's a huge
Yeah,
concern of mine.
yeah,
So I guess you can go on Amazon and find the straws. Oh,
yeah,
cool. It has to
those
be the
wide
right
ones.
like length though.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask her for the one she bought because whatever she has works for her.
Cool. Yeah, guys. So I hope you get out, get yourself a bottle, drink some water, but just get in some water and see how your body feels. You know, water is a lubricant. It might help your joints feel a little bit better. Might make you feel better. So we hope that
Water
you,
is life giving.
yes, water is everything. Like we would not be here without water. That we always talk about, if we're looking for another planet, does it have water? Water is everything for us. So we hope you like this episode. Please join us again next week. Please like, subscribe, share with a friend, engage in a conversation. We would enjoy that. So thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.